Hi, my name is Christopher Malcolm, and welcome to Movable Canvas, where we talk about cinema, art, culture, where those three things sometimes intersect. It's that time of year again to break out the eggnog, warm up our voices for some off key choral singing, and tune into everyone's favorite Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Directed by Frank Capra, the 1946 classic It's a Wonderful Life might never have been a classic at all. It's far from alone as a Christmas film produced by the Hollywood studio system, and for a long time, its existence was seen as so insignificant that the original rights holders never even bothered to renew the copyright. But as it turns out, this little bit of neglect was actually the key in spreading Christmas joy to millions of people around the world and creating an indelible classic. Because the movie had fallen into the public domain and was thus free to air to any network that could get their hands on a copy, television stations began airing the film as many times as they could. This meant that the film was almost always on television around the holiday season for anyone who wanted to see it. And it turned out a lot of people wanted to see it. It's a darn good movie. Starring Jimmy Stewart as George Bailey, a small town banker whose dreams have always managed to remain just out beyond the reach of his grasp. The film is one of those ultimate warm-hearted Frank Capra films from a director who specialized in warming people's hearts. The director, an Italian immigrant, had a knack for bringing the life of small-town America to films such as It Happened One Night, Meet John Doe, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. His ability to capture the pluck and optimism and idealism of small towns was his trademark. Whether or not the real world actually reflected this optimism was beside the point. Capra had an idealistic view of America that many immigrants hold, and he was a master of putting that on screen. You have no choice but to leave a Frank Capra movie smiling. It's like a legal requirement. And no audience member can walk out of the theater without having their hearts warm. Of course, the one thing any cinematographer knows is that the thing about light is that it can only be seen in the presence of darkness. And as much as Capra deserves full credit for the uplifting feeling we get from his films, it often overlooks just what pain his characters are first forced to trudge through before receiving their just rewards. But isn't that how it should be? Life, for most of us, is largely about pain. We tell our stories as series of victories, but the size of our victories stand in direct contrast to the size of our tragedies. Life is hard. And a hidden secret to what makes Capra's films so powerful is that they don't ignore the dark side in favor of the light. George Bailey, played by America's official everyman Jimmy Stewart, is a dreamer, but not an unreasonable one. He wants to travel and see the world. He wants to forge his own career. He wants to live a life. He's also a fundamentally decent person. He's the type of person we want to succeed, the type of person who puts others before himself, the type of person we should all really be striving to be. Sadly, it's this essential goodness that leaves him so vulnerable to life's tragedies. He loses part of his hearing as a child trying to save his brother from drowning in an accident. His big dreams of seeing the world are derailed when he's forced to stay home to look after his father's small savings and loan business and save the community from the evil Mr. Potter, an excellent Lionel Barrymore. It's not a stretch to say that if he weren't such a good person, that his life might not have turned out so bad. Good person or not, after a lifetime of disappointment, even George barely can't help but to think he's been hard done by. Despite having a happy family and a beautiful wife, Mary, played by Donna, he feels cheated to have not been able to live the life he wanted. Now, to be fair, it's hard to feel too bad for a man that gets to marry Donna. I mean, yeah, that's a win in any book. But still, he wanted more out of life than what he got. Worse yet, he feels trapped and has lost hope that he could ever have more. I think a lot of people can relate to that. We all have dreams, we all have expectations for our lives, and regardless of our own level of success, most people can relate to the feeling that you just haven't gotten as much out of life as you deserved. After one particularly dark night when George is on the verge of committing the ultimate sin, he is visited by Angel Clarence in Henry Chaver's most memorable performance. The angel takes George through a journey of what the world would have looked like had he not been born. He sees the impact he's had on the people around him, the joy he has both given and received from others. And George finally learns that excitement and financial success aren't all they're cracked up to be. The reason why It's a Wonderful Life has become such a Christmas classic is more than just because it was free to air for broadcasters. It's a Christmas classic because it taps into the best of humanity and reminds us that there's more to life than money. There's more to life than glamour and objective success. Of course, social media wasn't a thing at the time the film was made, but for an audience, there's more to life than an Instagram feed. There are people, real people. and we're here to support each other. We're here to offer kinship and love. And as the film final scene details, no man's poor when he has friends. And as long as we continue to put others first, even if things don't always work out exactly the way we planned, it's a wonderful life. Happy holidays, everyone, and I hope you all enjoy your time with your family. I hope you all take time out to treasure those people in your life that could use a little bit more love, even if that person's yourself. And as always, I thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. How many times have you seen the movie? I've seen it quite a few. Have you ever felt like George Bailey in your life? And how might we better support each other to make the world a better place? Thanks for watching. Have a great day and have a great holiday.